University Press Audiobooks presents Empire of Ancient Greece, a Chelsea House title. Written by Jean Kinney Williams. Narrated by B.J. Harrison. This audio edition is based on the revised edition of the book published by Chelsea House Publishers, an imprint of Infobase Publishing. Introduction. The term Ancient Greeks can refer to many cultures and times in world history. The ancient Greeks include the warriors who fought in the Trojan War in the 1200s BCE and whose mythical stories, retold by Homer, are considered the foundation of Western literature. They also are the sophisticated, from the Greek word sophos, which means wise, Athenians, of what is known as classical Greece. They gave us democracy in the 400s BCE. And their architecture and literature still influences modern society. And they are the Mediterranean peoples who, in the 2 centuries before Rome began its rule of the Western and Near Eastern world in the 140s BCE, made groundbreaking contributions to science and mathematics. The history of the ancient Greeks spanned many centuries, from about 1600 BCE to 146 BCE. As their world was unfolding, their Mediterranean neighbors included Egypt, whose civilization had already existed for 2,000 years. To the east, in modern-day Turkey, the Hittites made up another powerful kingdom that battled with Egypt for control over Syria, which lay between them. The nearby Phoenicians first developed an alphabet and advanced the art of shipbuilding. Trade and exchanges of culture and technology flourished among these kingdoms around the Mediterranean Sea. Eventually, the early Greeks became another important force in the area. Ancient Greece was never a unified country. Rather, it was a collection of perhaps as many as 1,500 independent city-states, or cities that function as separate nations. The people of those city-states shared a culture and a language, even though they were scattered throughout the modern-day Greek mainland and also around the Mediterranean and Black Seas, including today's Turkey, North Africa, and southern Italy. As the Greek philosopher Plato described, they sat like frogs around a pond. These people did not call themselves Greeks either. That name came from the Romans, who called them Graeci. The Greeks always referred to themselves, and still do, as Hellenes. Hellas was their word for the entire Greek world, and is what Greeks today call their nation. The image that most likely comes to mind when thinking about the ancient Greeks is that of Athens in the 5th century BCE, what today is known as classical Greece. Perhaps it is a scene from the crowded agora, or marketplace, bustling with vendors and shoppers, or philosophers such as Socrates, who lived around 470 to 399 BCE, who drew crowds around them as they discussed their ideas about how to live a virtuous life. Or perhaps the Parthenon, the architectural masterpiece of the day, or graceful statues of the gods and goddesses featured in Greek mythology and the stories about them that are still told today. All of those impressions come from the era during which the Greeks had enormous influence in their Mediterranean world under the leadership of their largest city-state, Athens. Classical Greece should also come to mind during election campaigns, because the idea of democracy was invented by the ancient Greeks. The earliest Greeks. The large island of Crete, south of Greece, was home to the Minoans, who did not speak Greek. They were the first kingdom in the Aegean Sea, a part of the Mediterranean Sea that lies between modern-day Greece and Turkey. By about 2000 BCE, Minoans were building elaborate palaces that had running water and drainage in most rooms. They had a highly developed society with a complex religion. The Minoan culture eventually overlapped with the more aggressive Mycenaeans. Historians named this culture for the city of Mycenae, on southern Greece's Peloponnese Peninsula. They consider the Mycenaeans to be the first ancient Greeks and are connected to the future Greek civilization by language and religion. The Mycenaean era lasted roughly from 1600 to 1200 BCE, and it gave the Greeks the glorious legends of King Agamemnon.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?